Namaste. This clipping is on measurement of national income. Measurement of national income is normally undertaken by three different methods. You have learnt already in circular flow of income about the three different phases of the circular flow. The first phase is the generation, second is the distribution, and third is the disposition phase. So, income is generated by, and also the products are generated by the firms. Such generated income is going to be distributed, and the households, which are also the factors, they receive the income and they dispose of or they spend it. Therefore, we have the value added method, the income method, and then the expenditure method to calculate the national income. Now, we will first see the value added method. What is value added? Value added refers to adding value to the raw materials or the semi-finished products by the firms. So, the firms, even as they are engaged in the production process, they add value to the raw materials or the non-factor inputs, and thereby they generate the goods and services which are going to be used up by the households. So that is the first method, where the value added of all the production units put together, we will get the gross value added at market price. So value added can be calculated as the difference between the value of the output and that of the intermediate consumption. So how do we calculate the value of the output? Value of the output will be equal to sales. Ideally, if all the production units are going to supply and thereby sell off the entire output that they have produced. But all of us know that firms don't do that. Depending upon the market price, they release some amount as supply and thereby sell it depending upon the profitability, and the rest they keep it as stock. So over here, the value of the output can be calculated as sales plus the change in stock. Change in stock is the difference between the closing stock and the opening stock. By the end of the year, whatever stock of raw materials and unsold products that the firms are going to have minus the opening stock refers to the stock of raw materials and the finished products which they have at the beginning of the year. So why is it that change in stock is accounted for? Because it is change in stock which is precisely going to tell how much value addition was made in terms of stock during the particular year of calculation. So it would be the sale plus the change in stock which would give you the value of the output. So that's the second method of finding out the value of the output. The third method is the output that is produced. It has to be evaluated at the market price. So output into the price will result in value of the output. Sales, which is part of the value of the output, it can be to the households. Firms can also sell to other firms which are going to further process. Firms can sell to the government, and firms can also sell to the rest of the world, which would be exports. So, the word sales is a very comprehensive word which includes the households, the firms, government, and the exports who are going to purchase from the domestic firms. So, if the word sales is given, while calculating GVA-MP or GDP-MP, do not add separately exports or any other item, because sales, it includes all these components. Now, what is intermediate consumption? Intermediate consumption is a cost of intermediate purchases made up by the firms. So, it could refer to purchase of raw materials that is going to be done by the firm for the production, and this purchase, it can be done from other firms, from within the domestic area, or it could be done from rest of the world. That is, there can be imports. So, cost of intermediate purchases or intermediate consumption, it includes both the domestic purchases of raw material and also imports. Over here, do not add purchase of any fixed assets like machinery or installation and so on. This would be only purchase of raw materials which are going to be completely used up in the production process. So that is the intermediate cost or the intermediate purchases done by the firm. So, knowing the value of the output and that of the intermediate consumption, how will you arrive at the value added? Value added, you have already understood, is nothing but value of the output less intermediate consumption. So, calculation of value added, what are the steps involved? One has to first identify the various production units in an economy. There are three sectors, namely the primary, secondary and the tertiary sectors. Primary sector, all of you by now should be knowing that it refers to agriculture and the allied activity sector. Secondary sector is the manufacturing sector and tertiary sector is the service sector. So, while the primary, secondary and the tertiary sectors are going to be involved in the production process, value added by the primary sector plus value added by the secondary sector plus value added by the tertiary sector will give the gross value added or the GVA-MP. So, how do you calculate that? Let's see that. So, value added by the primary sector plus value added of the secondary plus the value added by the tertiary, it will give you the gross value added at market price, or that would give you the GDP-MP. So, value added of the primary sector will be the value of the output of the primary sector, which has to be identified first, less the intermediate consumption expenditure of the primary sector. Similarly, for the other two sectors, the difference between the value added and that of the intermediate consumption will give the gross value added. So, the third component is value of output of the tertiary sector minus intermediate consumption of the tertiary sector. So, that would give you the GVA at MP. Now, from here, if you do adjustments to arrive at the NNP FC, then that would be the national income through the value added method. So, how to do the adjustments? Quickly, we will see even that bit. So, the gross value added by all the production units through the value added method, which is nothing but the GDP, from there to arrive at the national income or the NNP, what has to be done? This is a gross and this is a net. So, from gross to net, reduce depreciation first. Now, this is a domestic concept and this is a national concept. So, domestic income plus NFIA or net factor income from abroad will give you the national concept, and this is market price. To arrive at the factor cost, remove NIT, because to the extent of IT there is an escalation, and to the extent of subsidy there is a reduction in the market price. So to know the actual value addition, it is always at FC that national income is understood better. That is why NNP FC is a national income. So this is how national income can be calculated through the value added method. In the next video, we will see what are the various precautions that are to be undertaken to calculate the national income through the value added method. Keep watching. Thank you.